Hey guys, welcome to Up the Coast with Alex and Britt. We are officially almost done with the 2026 softball season, and we are heading into week 11. It has been absolutely insane so far.
Look, I feel like as soon as we felt like we had the pulse of a team and what to expect, then this past weekend happened and just flipped everything upside down. I'm looking at you, Virginia
Yeah.
Tech. I'm looking at you, UVA and Clemson. Like, what a crazy weekend. I think what we thought we knew, maybe not what we thought we knew, but that's why we play the games. And it was an exciting weekend.
Yeah. We know nothing is how I feel. Like the Game of Thrones, like I remember who says it. It's like I drink and I know things. It's like I drink and I know nothing is what I want to say. We should
Yeah,
get shirts made.
I
So
watched I watched softball and I know
yeah,
nothing, right?
I still know nothing. Yeah, right.
But
Um,
but we'll try and figure it out.
We will. We're still on our way. But RPI rankings came out, and we'll get into why we're going to talk more about RPI. But Duke, Florida State, and Stanford are all sitting in the top 16 with RPI. As far as ACC standings go, Duke is still in that top spot based on win percentage and conference play. Florida State's in the 2 spot. Louisville, Stanford, Virginia Tech, Clemson, Virginia are the top 7, if I count that correctly. Just kind of a shift. I feel like this is a true opportunity where we are walking into a tournament and it's anybody's game, anybody's opportunity.
Yeah, and the top 4 seeds going into the ACC tournament get that first round bye, which is huge because some of these teams, I mean, all of these teams have some resume building to do to lock into a host seed. Duke trying to get sneak into a top 8 seed, Florida State a good top 16 seed. Like, you can build your resume with some good wins if you put yourself in a good place to be successful in that ACC tournament. So, Louisville and Stanford with what they have coming up. I mean, Stanford only has one ACC series coming up, and I don't think they should lose another game. They have Cal. Louisville's in a good spot with their upcoming schedule as well. So those top 4 may stay there, even though each team, I mean, they're just like one game behind each other. Virginia Tech did themselves no favors this weekend. We'll get into more of that. But yeah, postseason is right around the corner, which is nuts. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see play out.
Yeah. So we're excited. The teams that have clinched their spot in the ACC tournament so far are Duke, Florida State, Stanford, Louisville, Clemson, Virginia Tech, Virginia. And that's just kind of based on, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's important because in ACC baseball, every team makes it to the ACC tournament. Not in softball. 3 teams will not be there and their season will be over. And right now, I think Syracuse, Cal, and NC State are those 3 teams that don't look like they're going to be traveling to Charlottesville.
Yeah, so crazy stuff. I mean, I'd have to look at the standings right in front of me to see like if the math could even math to give them that opportunity headed into this last weekend. But yeah, you never know. So, some really big stuff. But let's talk before we get into like specific players, shout outs, teams, all the things. We listened to one of the podcasts that our good friend Eric Lopez does, and with U.N. softball, called In the Circle. And he got to speak with the committee chair about the selection process and just kind of like a deeper dive, I guess. Do you want to just talk? The people can go listen to it if they want, like the full scope, but just initial thought from it.
Yeah, I was really excited to hear this because all season long we're talking about, hey, the committee is going to be able to use DSR. They're going to be able to use KPI and not just RPI when they make their selections. And so when you're trying to look and see where teams are going to end up, you're going to use all this information now. And it sounded like to me that they're going to still be heavy RPI. And she said that unless there's like a big discrepancy from RPI, DSR, KPI, then they'll dive into the team sheets more, dive into that team more. But it just looks like, looking at RPI again is going to be a big thing. And that I didn't love that too much. And another thing I didn't love too much is it was a big deal this year that they're going to rank 1 through 32 teams. Like, that's huge. Like, we're going to put that 2 seed where they deserve. The 32 is going to go to 1 and 17 is going to go to 16. And we'll be able to see how they ranked them. And she explicitly said that no one will know who 17 through 32 are, but you could, if you're intuitive, you can kind of see. I'm like, what? No, that's not what we're supposed to be doing here. Like, if you're going to rank 17 through 32, I feel like they should be ranked 17 through 32, not just like we've done every year. Because I hope in the past there was some sort of ranking. through 17 through 32, but we just didn't see it. But no, it seems like it's going to be much of the same as it has before, but they're just saying they're ranking these teams, and that
Yeah.
geography is still going to come into play with those. I don't know. I wasn't thrilled. It was a very good conversation to listen to and enlightening, but I don't think it was enlightening in the way I was expecting it to.
I agree. I also think it's the reality, like nobody expects something new to be implemented and it for it to be fully perfect, right? Like we knew that there were going to be some areas of improvement that of course we can all have opinions, right? But looking at how it's at least again from this scope, from this point in time, how it's going to be addressed and handled, a little concerning still. Not my favorite. To your point, it's like thought we were maybe legitimately going to get a 1 through 32 ranking more so. But yeah, 17 through 32 is still up in the air. Like, what does that even mean? Because, like you said, there are still things in factor of proximity and just all these things. I don't remember. Should have taken notes as they were talking. It wasn't like the automatic assumption that like one of the seeds was going to be placed at like one of the locations. Like, so if you're ranked 1 through 16, it wasn't like automatic that 19 would be going to whatever number plays with that. You know what I mean? Which to me, it was like, well, why not? Isn't that the point? Because
Right.
again, like 1 and 16 line up. So I don't know. It just makes sense. You feel like, right?
Yeah, totally. And I get the whole, you don't want to have two ACC teams. You can't have two
Right.
ACC teams in the
Right.
same region, two SEC teams in the same region. That's fine. Like if you have to rank them that way, like we understand, like you can't, if they match up, that can't happen. So you have to make a little bit of an adjustment there. But I don't know. I was really hyped up again at the beginning of the year when they said they were going to rank 1 through 32, but now I'm not as hyped. But
Yeah, I would love to come back to that at some point and not in our episodes, but like you and I, maybe personally, with that conversation about conferences aligning in regionals. I don't know that I love it either. And I know it's part of like the bylaws and everything of NCAA softball, but like if it's how it plays out, it's almost how it plays out, in my opinion. But I need to think more about it before I have an actual opinion.
fair.
That's just kind of like off the cuff because it's like, well, so you're going to position people just to avoid that? Again, I know it's the rules, but interesting. So, all right.
All right. Let's get off our
Shall we
box.
actually? Yeah, we're on our soapbox here. I was like, I want to get this within a certain amount of time, and here I am rambling. So, you want to start with UNC at Florida State?
Yeah.
All right.
To kick us off, it was our two schools going against each other. Florida State hosting
Yep.
UNC after the first time being swept last weekend since 2011. Hate to bring that back up, but
Yeah,
it
to you.
happened. So my big thing was, how was Florida State going to respond? Like, how are they going to come out? Are they going to be tight? Are they going to feel the additional pressure? Like a lot of things happen when your team loses. Like the things
Mhm.
start to kind of be magnified. Like little things that bother you don't really bother you when you're winning, but when you have consecutive losses in the middle or towards the end
Yeah.
of conference play, people kind of get unhappy and, things start to come to a head. But I thought they came out and played as free and as comfortable as they had been prior to that sweep.
Yeah, I agree. I think that in a lot of ways picked up where maybe they were lacking, at least offensively, scored a good amount of runs, just like put the pressure on. And I think that one of the questions all season has been UNC pitching. How deep are they? How far can they go? I mean, like you had Kendall Frost come and get the start in game 1 on Friday, and it's hard. She went 6 batters and only recorded 1 out, but that's also a testament to the Florida State offense and the adjustments they make hitter to hitter, one time through the lineup, whatever it is. Some of the big swings were Bella Ruggiero, Issa Torres, Kennedy Harp, Jazzy Francic, I thought looked better. So those were the hitters. Francic better in the circle. And then Reagan Jennings for UNC did swing a good bat. But yeah, to me, the question for UNC right now is pitching. Also, for a lot of teams, it's pitching. So nothing new, I think, there. But
Yeah.
yeah, they scored a lot. So
They did score a lot. I thought Issa Torres had another home run to lead off a game. That's the 5th time this season that she had a leadoff home run. I mean, she's still rolling. She is currently sitting tied, I believe, with the NCAA single season batting average at, I think it was 589,
yeah. Yep.
586, something like that, which is insane. That record was set back in 1994, and she's just knocking at the door with it. And it's kind of crazy that earlier, I think game 1, she went 2 for 4 and her average dropped. So she has to go 2 for 3 or 3 for 4 every game. But UNC stopped pitching to her pretty much, but she still found a way to raise her batting average, and she's sitting right there. For UNC, Emily Legette hit another bomb, tied the single season career record for UNC. Also, that swing also tied their team single season home run record. So North Carolina's swinging the bats well. They just sometimes it's hard to score 9-10 runs every game. But I thought Florida State looked good. You mentioned Jazzy. I thought it was interesting on Sunday because we saw the problems that Jazzy had with left-handed batters. When she was brought into the game, Megan Smith from UNC brought in another lefty hitter in that lineup, and the hitter had 4 at-bats all year long, Brighton Burns, and she hadn't started a game, but she got a walk. All 3 of the hits that Jazzy gave up were to lefties. All her walks were to lefties, so I think some work needs to be done there. But I thought besides that, she looked pretty good.
Yeah, completely agree. Smart on Coach Smith's end or Smith line. But I think one of the unsung heroes for Florida State right now is Ashton Danley. Games 2 and 3, she had multiple hits. In game 2, she was 3 for 4, had a 3-run home run. In game 3, she had another 3-run home run. She had 5 RBI in the game. And I think what she's doing on both sides of the ball right now are she's coming in big moments and shutting it down in the circle and keeping Florida State in games or, getting saves or even getting wins, depending on when she is coming in. But she's also swinging a really good bat. I know that's something that she's worked really hard on in the offseason is to be that legitimate two-way player. And it's good to see her success. Another note offensively for Florida State was 6 Knowles recorded multi-hit games in game 3. So I feel like the offense is trying to kick it back up. And then also Sydney Horton for UNC looked good. But you mentioned Legette. What she's doing with the bat is insane.
Yeah. I do want last thing. I want to go back to Ashton Danley. She pitched in every single game this weekend. You mentioned her offense was awesome, and she's been like this all year long. I think she's played left field, she plays right field. She'll get moved in the DP spot when she needs to go get warmed up to come in the game. Like she's moving all over the field, but she is that one player that Lonnie can look to in a tight situation, in a messy situation, to close out a game, to finish something off. She looks to Ashton Danley, and Ashton Danley comes in and gets the job done just about every time. And to me, she's a cornerstone of this team. Like you see Issa Torres, what she's doing, undeniably impressive. But I just really look to Ashton Danley as that steadfast cornerstone of this team and what she's doing. So keep it up, Ashton.
Couldn't agree with you more. Not agree with you more. Also, quick note on consistency. Destiny Beecham has reached base in 34 consecutive games for Florida State. And then Lexi Roberts for UNC had a 27 on-base streak. Game on-base streak.
Awesome.
Good stuff. Love to see the consistency there. So, all right, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech.
What?
Crazy. Yeah, crazy stuff. So they split the first 2 games. Virginia Tech came out game 1 in Blacksburg and run-rolled them. So Foster and Lynch had multi-hit games for Virginia Tech. Hunter recorded a couple of hits for Georgia Tech. So the offense was sort of doing its thing, at least for the Hokies. And then Emma Mazzarone and the Circle went a complete game for the win. Again, nothing surprising there. On paper, that's what they do. Game 2, a whole different story. 6-2, Georgia Tech wins. Thoughts initially on even just the split?
Yeah, after that game 2 loss, I was like, uh-oh. I remember this happening last year, this exact same weekend, and I'm thinking back to Virginia Tech playing at Pitt. Virginia Tech this year right now is a top 10 team. They're hosting, they're in for postseason. Same situation it was last year when they went to Pitt. And they lost that series, and it cost them their host spot because they would go on to lose another series after that. Last 2 of their 3 ACC series they lost last year, and I was like, uh-oh, no way they're going to let this happen again. No way, because last year, they were riding Emma Limley hard. Like maybe there was some fatigue, but now we have Bree Carrico and Emma Mazzarone kind of tag teaming this thing. That shouldn't be an issue. No way this is going to happen again. And not to take anything away from Georgia Tech, but Virginia Tech in the Circle. Game 3, Mazzarone started, gets pulled, brings in Carrico, gets pulled. And these are 2 pitchers that go complete games. They don't get pulled. And I was just like, whew, what is happening in Blacksburg?
Yeah. Well, the hitters were hitting. That's what it was, a 9-7 score, which was, I feel like, just really high, right? You had for Georgia Tech, Willard, Tucker, Wall all recorded multiple hits. So you talk about just the lack of pitchers coming out that day. I mean, everybody can have an off day, but I think to have it collectively is what's hardest to swallow. And then Willer and Hunter both hit home runs off Mazzarone. And then for Virginia Tech, it's the usual suspects. It's Lynch, it's Michelle Chatfield, it's Mizell, and more home runs. But you can't always outslug a team. I think that's the hard part too, right? And Virginia Tech typically does do that. So it happens, but I don't know. It really affects a lot, I think, for them right now.
I loved what I saw from Georgia Tech. They were playing like their season was on the line because it is. I mean,
Because it is, yes.
they're on
yes.
the bubble on the wrong side of the bubble. Like the games they lost last week to South Dakota State and Iowa, not good. Not good to happen. Like that put them on the out of the postseason. And then to come into Virginia Tech, get run ruled in game 1, and then come out with your hair on fire games 2 and 3. The way they were swinging the bats were confident, aggressive, like all out, like everything on the line here. And it was. And they have put themselves in a better situation with their resume for postseason because this team has been so close all year long. And we've talked about all the one-run games they've lost and the games where they blew leads late. But they could have been so close, but they needed this series and they played like it. And good for Georgia Tech, not so good for Virginia Tech.
Yeah. And for Georgia Tech, they had not won a series against Virginia Tech in Blacksburg since 2011. And this was their highest ranked series win in program history. Pretty insane. And you know who has Georgia Tech this next weekend? Florida State. It's big. It's really big because this is a Georgia Tech team that is rolling, and Florida State needs a sweep, in my opinion.
Yes,
because of their hosting, I guess, being in question.
Yeah, and Georgia Tech still is. If they play like they play with their seasons on the line, that's going to be tough. I guess my question for you, big picture thought: do you take more away from this series that Virginia Tech blew it, or that Georgia Tech took it away?
Oof. I think that Georgia Tech has been good all season. I don't know that their numbers really show that, or I guess their record, because like you said, there was at one point, I don't remember, it was way earlier, but it was like 5 of their 6 losses were like 1-run games. So they were right there. So I don't think it's been a matter of Georgia Tech having the potential. I think they've always just had the potential. I think they didn't have the clutchness when people were on base. So I think this is more of a Virginia Tech possibly blowing a big opportunity, but against a good Georgia Tech team. You know what I mean? I'm not surprised that Georgia Tech played as well as they did. I think I'm disappointed because I wanted to see Virginia Tech get that top spot and be a host. So I think I'm more disappointed in that.
Yeah. We knew Georgia Tech's a good team. They just haven't showed up every weekend. And then when they put it together, that's what they can do. I agree. All right. UVA went down to Clemson. UVA coming off of that loss, 2 out of 3 games to Virginia Tech last weekend, and Clemson coming off of a loss at Pitt, but ended up taking the series. What did you like from this? Because Clemson swept UVA, and neither one of us thought that would happen.
Yeah, I think I stay confused on Clemson. I'm still confused. Been confused, still confused, will be confused. Yeah, I don't even know that I have much. I'm just in disbelief. I'm are you guys good and going to show us a run? I know you're good, but can you put it together, right? And they haven't against teams that they should have, and then they have against teams that they shouldn't have, the way that they did, right? Again, on paper, I feel like these teams are pretty comparable. I just feel like UVA has been playing so well this season, so I don't think either of us would have, I know we didn't predict a sweep, but I think I would have been genuinely surprised if I had been, a future teller and knowing that this was how it was going to play out. I think I put on the notes, this is huge, but also WTF.
Right. I guess for me, I look back after they lost that game to Pitt, they shook up the lineup a little bit. Julia Noller got benched. She hasn't come back, but we've seen a lot more of Macy Cintron.
She's been the key, yeah.
Yeah. In the circle, she's been able to help out, especially game 2. Abby Dunning got the start, then they brought in Cintron, and they both did really well. Abby Dunning wasn't asked to try and go 7 innings. I feel like if you tell her, I need 3 solid innings from you, she can do that, and that's where she performs her best, and that's what she did. And I also think being in the circle is helping Macy in the box too, because she's starting to swing the bat well. And I think two-way players sometimes need to be in both to, feel their best, their confidence. I think the confidence she's gaining from the circle is showing up in the box, and she's been swinging the bat a lot better. And I think up and down the lineup, I mean, Pipkin's coming in, she's swinging a good bat now. But I think we haven't seen consistency from Clemson. That's why we've been so confused. Like, they would beat Mississippi State or lose to Mississippi State, then beat them. And they would, it's just been back and forth.
Mhm.
Like they beat South Carolina earlier this year, then just dropped one midweek to them. Like, what team's going to show up? And they put a good
Yeah.
team together for 3 games, which was, to me, the first time I've seen that this season against a really good Virginia team. And I was impressed at how they went through their bullpen. Like, Virginia's pitchers are good. And whoever they threw out there, it seemed like Clemson was hitting the ball hard.
Could not agree with you more. I think in summary, Macy Cintron is the difference right now for Clemson. She did end up recording. You're right about obviously the innings that she pitched. She did come in games 2 and 3, and she actually got the win in both of those games. So picked up 2 wins, able to eat innings for Sierra Manis. That's big. It's just a big team effort right now, and collectively playing very well together. Again, like, they've got the pieces. I just feel like everything was kind of so segmented in the past. It was like if they were hitting, they weren't doing other things well. If they weren't hitting, they were doing other things well. So it was just a tough break. I do think it's been the usual suspects, though, for Clemson, like Jameson Brockenbrough, Kylie Chanel, obviously now Macy Cintron, Marion Collins, like Sarah Bro, like all these people that we've talked about throughout their career so far. And it's like, okay, here you are again. Taylor Pipkins did well, and just all the people, all the things that we've been missing.
I'm glad you mentioned Sarah Bro, because I think coming into the past 2 weeks, she had like 1 home run on the season, and she's hit like 6 in the past couple weeks. Like, she has some major power. Freshman, great third baseman. Really like her. That left side of the infield with Bro and Chanel, really good for
Insane.
Clemson. But
Yeah.
on the other side for UVA, a couple good things. They got Bella Cabral back, and she had a good weekend. She was, swinging the bat well, coming back from injury. Still missing one of their starters to injury, Cassidy Hudson, I believe. I'm hopeful to get her back next week. But Virginia's still a postseason team. Clemson's still a postseason team, just more about seeding and where they're going to line up in the ACC tournament, because, again, having a good resume and quality wins there will help.
I do think not having a full Eden Bigham is hard.
Yeah,
I think it's tough.
for sure. But I love what I see from their other pitchers, too.
I agree. I just would like her to.
Fair. We'll
I
do
just want my cake and to eat it too,
There we go.
So,
All right. How about what Duke did midweek against Tennessee?
insane.
I mean, 3 runs, 5 pitches into the game against Carlin Pickens. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, Jess Oakland. I think it was the first pitch of her at bat. What's it called? Vega and Jennings both were 0-1 and then had to pitch 2 pitches, and they both got on base. And then the first pitch that Oakland sees, I think her exact words were something. Well, actually, don't go exacts, but I'm pretty sure she talked about like blacking out and just like she stuck to her plan. She's like, we worked so hard for this all week to prep for what we were going to see out of the circle. Like, you just got to trust the training and like a little bit, black out on occasion. So I'm with her. I think that happens. And then Cassidy Curd went 5 innings of work. Obviously, it was a complete game. Duke won 6-3 was the final, but Curd eating up the bulk of the innings, but it was a total team effort. KK Mathis came in, Ava Bradshaw came in, like it was all hands on deck. And how about that? How about Mathis coming in? I think she was first off the bench, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, what are we doing? I just get
know.
nervous. And not because of her ability, just because of the experience that she has not had in the circle. And I'm like, holy shit, this is
a big moment.
This is a big moment. This is a good team. Like, are we sure about this, Coach Young? I'm just like, I'm like in Bristol, like pacing, like what's going on? What are we thinking? And then she does a great job. And then Ava Bradshaw comes in and closes it out. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was incredible effort
Yeah.
from everyone. That was great. That was a big win for Duke. Top 10 in RPI now. Their strength of schedule is top 10. The cards are starting to line with this team that started 9-9 on the season.
Yeah.
But then they go up to BC this weekend, and it is so easy for teams that are on paper much better than the team they're playing to, kind of coast through the weekend. Duke did not coast, man. You text me and you're like, they don't give up.
Yeah.
And you were
They don't
right.
care. They
They are
don't
just
care.
they're going out to murder people. They
Yeah.
are just swinging the bats to just hit the ball as hard as they can, as far as they can, and it's 1 through 9 doing it, and it is scary. It is
Yeah.
scary if your other team seeing those. I mean, a couple years ago, what were they? Free swaggy dogs? Like, that seems like
Yeah.
kind of fun and gentle. This team is just dogs. They're just
Yeah.
dogs. Wow, I'm
Yeah,
impressed.
me too. And to put it into perspective about like the offense, right? Like they run ruled 2 out of the 3 games, and then the one like this weekend, and then the other one that they didn't get the run rule, they still won 12-2. It was just they were up 7 going into the last inning, and then they scored a few more. So insane numbers. What they're doing collectively is insane. It's almost like again, I'm a huge Jada Baker fan. She's not even like playing, and it's hard. Like that's just a sign of the depth that this team has, because I think Jada Baker is amazing as a person, as a player. She's been rock solid defensively, and it's like, damn, like they're really good when somebody that quality all around isn't a starter every day anymore. For the big bats, it's Layla Lamar, Tyrena Jones, Gabriella Shattuck, KK Mathis, Jess Oakland, Amina Vega, Deanna Jennings. Like, who isn't it, I think, at this point? And that is the question.
Yeah, I agree. It's just fun. Gabby Shattuck, I mean, you mentioned Jada Baker not being in the lineup. Kyrie Rodriguez behind the plate. Shattuck is
Yeah.
a freshman coming in late in the season and really cementing herself with her bat to get herself behind the plate. So they have depth, man. Let me tell you, they have some depth. And, the 3 transfers, Layla, Jess, and Tyrena, middle of that lineup is really nice.
Insane.
Good on Duke. Great job of taking care of business and not just going into Boston College and, having a close game. They just went in there and just put it to them.
And I know in that win against Tennessee, I know we talked Cassidy Kurt going 5 innings. We talked KK Mathis, Ava Bradshaw, but also Lottie Hawkes got time this weekend. Mallory Wheeler got time in the circle this weekend. So again, even though they may not be throwing as frequently, their ability to come in and provide support, do a good job, like that is really, I think, going to help them through postseason.
For sure. Hey, tell me about the home runs, the champagne.
Yeah, okay, so I had so much fun with this. I'm not a video game girly, but, like, I know enough because my boyfriend plays video games, and they all are, like, on this Fortnite kick, and also I'll have to look at, like, what it is, but Coach Young even, like, chimed in on Instagram, like, basically saying that Duke for the last few years has been about Fortnite, but these girls are just now getting, like, on the kick, but, like, the veterans had done it prior, so it's fun. But part of Fortnite is there's, like, a champagne celebration, and that's what their home run celebration is they, like, decorated this water bottle and, like, bejeweled it, and they're doing, like, the Fortnite celly, like, when they're, like, popping the champagne and, like, letting it explode into like, it's amazing. And I asked if they won an ACC tournament, if they were gonna have a champagne celebration.
Yeah. Well, who wouldn't want to hit a home run if you come around and you get a champagne
Are you
celly?
kidding me? It's
Like,
so funny.
right. They're having fun. They're having fun. And they want a champagne shower after
Right,
that.
I want a champagne
So they're
shower.
swinging for the fences.
Right.
I love it. All right. Louisville took care of Pitt in a big way.
Yeah.
Just like Duke handled business like they're supposed to. Louisville is just quietly the 3rd best team in the ACC. I mean, 2 games back from Florida State. They're just doing great things, and they're playing a different style ball than anybody else is in the ACC or really in the top teams in the country. They're playing small ball. They're singling teams to death. They're stealing bases. They lead the nation in stolen base. Chelsea Mack leads the nation in stolen bases. Like, that girl is legit. She is fast. She can hit it right to you, and she's going to be standing on first base. Like, if you have to even move an inch, you're not going to get her. And then Free Destinies went off, I think 5 for 5 in game 3. Like, this is a Louisville team that didn't make the ACC tournament 2 years ago. This is a team that was out in the first round last year in the ACC tournament. Now they're going in, and it looks like they're going to have a bye in the first round. Like, great job with Holly April and this team to really buy into who they are. When everybody else is hitting 100 home runs, they're stealing 100 bases. I love it.
Yeah, me too. Just sticking in the small ball and situational hitting, like you talked about, is big, and just having that be like what you celebrate, like doing what you do best, and that's how you're going to win games. So, like, don't try to be something you're not, I think is big. You mentioned all the hitters doing well. I want to go back to the huge long game that they had against Indiana because I was in Bristol and we were waiting to come on air until after the damn game finished. And of course, it goes extras and it went 10 innings. And of course, they were also an hour behind us. So it was like, holy moly, like, let's go. And then Easton Lotus came through with the game winning RBI. So just funny, so much fun. Big win, though, because that is a very good Indiana offense. They're always known for being able to hit the ball well. And for Louisville to take that one was really big. And then as far as their Pitt series, the hitters were hitting, we talked about, they outscored Pitt 33-3 this weekend. So that says a lot. And then last piece, you mentioned Chelsea Mack. You mentioned the stolen bases. I started like going through the box scores and I was like weirdly like, why are there so many triples? Like, I'm like, who hits this many triples in general? Like, it was like 1, 2. I think one game they might have had 3. It was, yeah, they did. I was like, what the hell? Like, a triple to me is the hardest thing in softball to do. And then I go looking it up because now I'm like, bought in. And Louisville leads the country in triples. Like, that's pretty good. That's legit. Yeah. So they have 25 triples. A triple is, again, the hardest thing, in my opinion, to get in the game of softball. But then I found out we actually have 3 teams in the ACC in the top 10 in the country in triples. Florida State is 7th with 20, and Stanford is tied for 10th with 18. So, like, we can freaking run.
Put pressure on defense. Like,
I had no idea
to see the style of play that these teams play against these teams that just rely on the long ball. Like, the defense, are they going to be surprised when they're getting singled to death, when they're dropping bunts? And so I love it. I love the style of ball they're playing, and they're winning games, and it's like a complete turnaround for this team. I love it for them.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Lastly, Stanford took care of business against NC State. There was no real letdown after that sweep of Florida State. They didn't come off that high and crash and burn. They're still healthy. I think a couple of the games a little bit closer than I expected, but it's still a win in the books, and they only have one ACC series left. In the circle, Zoe and Alyssa still throwing the ball well. At the plate, Taryn Kern. And between her and Issa Torres leading off games with bombs, like, it's so much fun to see as a tone-setting moment. Like, they're just not little speedy girls. I mean, they're fast, but top of the lineup, they can just take the game from the first pitch, and that's fun.
Yep. Pack a punch. They're a fun team to watch right now, just continuing to, like, figure themselves out, but not in a way that's like discovery, like we're going to lose games in the process. Like, they're still figuring out what it is that they do really well, and they're winning. So
one thing for Stanford, though, we mentioned at the top that they're number 16 in the RPI. So that's top 16. They have a really good shot at hosting, and everybody left on their schedule. They have Cal, really high RPI, couple out of conference games. That nothing on this schedule can help them. It can only hurt them. So they have got to lock in, take care of business if they want to be considered for that host spots. Nothing that they can't do, but they have to lock in and take care of business the rest of the way.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So should we get into our favorite segment? My favorite segment?
All right. BS or no BS with AP. Gonna ask you some things that I saw on the internet or came up with in my head. The first one, it is cool to schedule a 100+ RPI team at the end of the season to try and ensure your team is above 500 going into your conference tournament. BS or no BS? Is that cool?
Yeah. I'm not a fan of this one. I don't think you are either. I think it's just insane to just make the win-loss column what it is. Like you're saying, it's doing nothing for your team other than ensuring that you are above 500 because maybe you didn't take care of business when you should have. So now you're scrambling.
Yeah, I've seen 2 teams do that now. They've added these last late-minute games. And to me, if you're just one game above 500 and barely eligible, I don't care what conference you play in. Like, why are we getting into the tournament just because we're over 500? But
yeah,
maybe that's an NFCA conversation to be had. Like, when can you add games?
There should be a cutoff. Yeah. And it should be because you missed some, like certain ones got canceled.
Out. Yeah, and you should be able to add games in the month of April or something like that.
Yeah.
But we'll let the smarter people at top deal with that. Hopefully they do. BS, no BS. The teams that go furthest in the postseason are the ones that have the most depth in the circle.
No BS. I think in what is right now a hitter's game, pitching is everything. And I think that not dominant pitching, because I don't think you're not gonna consistently have overpowering pitching. You might have really good outings, yes. It's a hitter's game, and you need a couple arms that you can rely on in big moments.
It is. This is a conversation for another day, but the fact that we have players hitting the ball in a game over 300 feet with an exit velocity over 80, like
Insane.
something's going on. Something's not right. All these home run records getting broken this year, like something's changed in the ball, the bat. I don't know. I don't like it though. I don't like it. But yeah, I agree. You've got to have arms. You've got to have arms, and we've seen with Macy Cintron and Clemson, like her ability to come into the games and throw has started to make a really big difference for them late in the season. All right, last one, BS or no BS. Being ranked number 1 is a curse.
I'm going to go no BS. It is a curse. Because I was like thinking the other day, I was like looking at all the rankings, and I think it's the best kind of curse. There is the most parity. We always use the word parity. There's the most equality in the sport. It's the most even playing field that I've seen in my whole life, I think.
Mhm.
Just with any week, anybody can go down. And actually, to prove that, I started posing this question myself over the weekend. So then I did some digging. The last 6 weeks of ranking, the team that was in the number 1 slot lost a game in that same week.
Wow.
So if you were named number 1 this week, by this weekend, you have a loss.
Mhm.
No team went undefeated in the last 6 weeks since being ranked number 1. I thought that was interesting because it's hard. It's very hard to win games. I'm not saying that at a knock at anybody. I'm saying that to a compliment the rest of the sport, the rest of the teams. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And it has me excited for regionals. Like, how many upsets are we going to have? The most number of host seeds not make it to supers. Like last year, remember A&M, the overall number 1 seed, lost to Liberty, didn't make it out. And I feel like we're going to see a handful of those, especially with the 1 through 32 seeds. We'll see how the 17 through 32 play out. But I think the number 2 seeds in these regionals are going to be legit. Like, there's so many, like, hey, we don't want that 2 seed coming here. But
Absolutely.
no, it's great for the sport, and I love it. It's Wednesday tonight, some really good games. South Carolina at UNC. South Carolina looking to be over 500 heading into the SEC tournament. UNC needs some quality wins on that resume. This game can help them tremendously, and they're playing at home. We'll see how UNC bats stack up against Jory Hurd in the circle. Expect to see her for South Carolina. Kentucky at Louisville. Kentucky having a down year by their standards for sure. I think they're at the bottom of the SEC. So Louisville, this is another great resume builder for them. Maybe more people start paying attention if they take this series again. They won the one earlier this year, so looking to sweep their in-state rivals. And then Florida at Florida State. Alex, what do you think about that series?
It's one of my favorite ones. So I'm so excited. Definitely be tuning in to all the games, but of course that one will probably be front and center on my TV, and then I'll have the other 2 on the other screens. But I'm excited. I think
too.
it is. It's a huge opportunity. It's like if Florida State, if they could get 1 win, great. If they could win both,
Huge.
huge.
It will definitely help them. That's a lot of
We'll see.
implications for Florida
Yeah.
State that game. All right, let's pick them. Upcoming series, Florida State at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
The Bees, man, they are stinging right now. What you got?
Yeah. I'm going to go Florida State takes the series, but they're not going to sweep. Georgia Tech's going to sneak one in there, and I think they're going to be close games.
Yeah, I think Florida State's defense, which is unbelievable this year, is going to have to play really well because not only did Georgia Tech hit the gaps in a long ball in games 2 and 3, they were able to put some pressure on Virginia Tech's defense, who is number 2 in the ACC, really good defense, and made Jordan Lynch bobble a couple balls at third. Like, they put pressure on the infield, so that'll be interesting. But I agree. I think Florida State, both these teams are playing for a lot, too. So I think it's going to be an awesome series, but I agree. I think Florida State takes 2 of 3, but one of those games is going to be really close. Next, UNC going to Virginia Tech. What you got?
I'm going to say Virginia Tech gets the series. I am going to say UNC is going to get 1 again. I hope to see the hitters are hitting. I think both of those parks are hitters' parks, but I would love to see Legette break the record this weekend in Blacksburg.
definitely
ball
be
flies. Yeah.
record watching there. I think we'll see a lot of home runs in this
Yeah.
series. I mean, should we do an over under? Like
my God.
it's gonna be the ball's gonna be flying. Will Mazzarone and Carrico be able to come back after getting roughed up for the first time all season in back to back games? So
Do you want to
and
do over under runs or home
run
runs?
let's do runs scored, total runs scored.
Yeah.
Over under say 30.5 runs.
Okay. I was thinking 32. I like 30 as well. So that's perfect. Okay. I'm going to go over.
I'm gonna go over too.
Okay.
I mean, that's average 10 runs a game.
Yeah.
I think we'll see some 7-5 games, maybe a
Yeah.
14-9 game. I don't know, but there's going to be a lot of runs. All right,
Yeah.
NC State at UVA need a turnaround for the Cavs.
Yeah. Virginia needs a good feeling going into the tournament. I think Virginia is going to go for the sweep.
Yep, I think so too. At home, getting ready, Virginia sweep, NC State. Clemson at Duke. Duke swinging the bat so good. Clemson maybe putting some things together for more consistent performance.
Yeah.
And it's in Durham. What you got?
This is hard for me. I'm going to go Duke wins, but I think Clemson could sneak a game with how well they've been playing. Otherwise, I would say Duke sweep just because they're insane right now. But I think Clemson's going to be a little chippy.
I think Clemson has more to prove to me that they can do it on a consistent basis. So I'm going Duke sweep.
Okay, let's go.
Duke sweep. All right. Lastly, Stanford at Cal. Asterisks. They're going to be playing at Stanford, but Cal is going to be the home team because their stadium's under construction. So when you watch that game and you see Cal on the bottom of the score bug, but they're at Stanford, that's why. So Cal will be the home team at Stanford's new beautiful stadium. So who you got?
I'm going to go Stanford sweep.
Yeah, it's a rivalry series. They set the all-time attendance record, remember, last year in the football stadium. And Cal came out and kind of surprised us last year. But yeah, I think Stanford, like I said, they have everything to lose with the games coming up with their hosting situation. So they need a sweep, and I think they're smart enough to know that. So they're not going to take anything lightly. So yeah, I'm going Stanford sweep as well.
All right. Well, tune back
great
in
games
next
coming
week.
up. We're winding down. I
know, crazy. All right. Thanks for watching. As always, leave us your questions, comments, concerns, whatever you got. We're here.
Subscribe, like.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Later.
Bye.